I just wanted to grab a new tube of toothpaste from the military exchange before heading into my civilian job. What I got instead was a full-blown, shrieking meltdown from a woman who didn't just think I worked there. She apparently thought I was her personal shopping assistant, target for a racist slur, and deserved to be physically accosted. All before 9 a.m. It was one of those mornings, you know. I was just trying to get some quick shopping done at the exchange, specifically aiming for the personal care aisle so I could make it to work on time. I'm Aubrey, by the way. Former military, my husband's still serving, so the exchange is basically my second home. I was dressed in my usual business casual work clothes, a nice crisp button-up and some sensible slacks, completely minding my own business. Zero indication of employment. I was contemplating toothpaste brands when a voice, sharp and demanding, cut through the early morning calm. "Excuse me. You? Can you help me find the men's underwear section?" I turned, a little startled, to see a woman glaring at me. My first thought was, oh, okay, she needs help. I opened my mouth, ready to politely say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't actually work here," but she just steamrolled right over me. Before I could even get a full syllable out, she was already winding up. "Are you just going to stand there? Do you think your time is more important than mine? I've been looking for ages." Her face was starting to get really red, and her voice pitched higher like a siren revving up. I tried again, raising my hand slightly. "Ma'am, I'm just a customer, I don't." "Don't you dare!" she shrieked, her voice echoing a little too loudly in the mostly empty aisle. "Are you just going to blow me off? I need assistance. It's your job." At this point, my initial annoyance was giving way to genuine worry. She was beyond just rude. She seemed genuinely unhinged. Is she okay? My brain was screaming, mental health crisis, but my feet were screaming, run. I decided the best course of action was to disengage. I offered a quick, "I'm really sorry, but I can't help you," and started to gently turn away, heading for the next aisle. Big mistake. Huge. "Oh, no you don't," she wailed, and then she lunged. Not like a full-on tackle, but a sudden, reaching grab towards my arm, her fingers clawing at the air just inches from my sleeve. A jolt of genuine fear shot through me. What the hell was happening? Thankfully, at that exact moment, an actual exchange employee, a younger guy, seemed to materialize from behind a stack of detergent boxes. He'd clearly heard the commotion. "Ma'am, is everything all right here?" he asked, stepping between us, effectively blocking her path to me. She immediately pivoted her rage onto him, though her eyes kept flicking back to me. "No, it's not all right. This woman," she pointed a trembling finger at me, "is refusing to help me. She's incredibly rude and she just tried to walk away from a paying customer." The employee looked from her to me, a confused frown on his face. "Ma'am, I'm pretty sure she doesn't actually work here. She's dressed like a customer." "Of course she works here," the woman screamed. "She's wearing a button-up. She's just lazy, like all of them. I need help finding men's underwear."
I finally found my voice again, exasperated. "Sir, I already told her I don't work here. She wouldn't listen."
The employee nodded, trying to calm her down. "Ma'am, please, you need to lower your voice. She's telling the truth. I can help you, but you need to calm down." She wasn't having it. "Don't tell me to calm down. I've been treated atrociously, and she just tried to abandon me." The employee sighed, clearly realizing this wasn't going to be a quick fix. He pulled out his radio. "I need some backup in aisle 4, please." A moment later, another employee, an older woman who looked like she'd seen it all, joined us. "What's going on?" "This lady," the first employee gestured towards the screaming Karen, "is demanding help from this customer." He nodded at me, "and won't believe she doesn't work here, and she just tried to grab her." The Karen's face twisted into a snarl. "Nobody tried to grab anyone, and you're calling me a psycho? I am a patron of this establishment. I deserve respect."
"Ma'am, no one called you a psycho," the older employee said, her voice firm but calm. "And this young lady truly doesn't work here. She's a shopper just like you."
For a split second, the woman went quiet. Her mouth hung open, her eyes darting between the two employees and me. It was like the reality of the situation finally registered.
But, she stammered, deflating just a tiny bit.
The older employee stepped forward, a sympathetic but businesslike expression on her face. Now, if you'd like, I can help you find the men's underwear section. I seized the moment, adding, "Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you the whole time, ma'am. I just don't work here." And that's when she looked at me again. Her eyes narrowed, the brief moment of comprehension vanishing. A sneer stretched across her face, and then she spat it out. "Well, of course you don't work here. You people never want to do any actual work anyway, do you?" That was it. That was the line. The racism, the entitlement, the sheer audacity of it all. I'd had enough. My jaw tightened, and I stared her down for a moment before turning to the employees. "You know what?" I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I have to go to my actual job now. You guys handle this." I didn't wait for a response. I just walked away, toothpaste forgotten, making a beeline for the exit. My heart was pounding, a mix of anger and adrenaline. As I was leaving, a manager who had clearly been alerted to the ongoing drama intercepted me near the doors. He was incredibly apologetic, profusely so. He handed me a crisp 40% off coupon for my next visit. "I am so sorry you had to go through that, ma'am," he said, looking genuinely distressed. I took the coupon. "Thanks," I said, a little curtly. "But honestly, don't apologize to me. It's not your fault your store attracts people like that, and I didn't do anything wrong." He understood. He just nodded and offered another "we'll handle it." And handle it they did. I heard through the grapevine later that day that the woman had been promptly banned from the exchange. Forever. Part of me thinks it's a little extreme for a first offense, but honestly, after that cold open she put me through, and that racist garbage, yeah, I'm just glad I don't ever have to worry about bumping into her again. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on r/IDontWorkHereLady.
Still watching? Dang, you must love internet drama. Smash subscribe. It's cheaper than therapy.
Okay, so I effectively got fired from Starbucks the other day. Not even an employee, mind you, just a regular customer. All because a humorless cop couldn't take a joke and then, in her entitled rage, managed to get the wrong guy written up for my harmless comment. You guys seriously won't believe this train wreck. It all started innocently enough a few weeks back. I was just chilling at my usual Starbucks, nursing a venti iced coffee, headphones off, just enjoying the buzz. I ended up chatting with the baristas, like I often do. They're a friendly bunch, always good for a laugh. We were talking about everything and nothing, just shooting the breeze. Then one of the baristas shared a pretty wild story about his brother getting arrested for something relatively minor. Not anything serious, just one of those dumb stuff you do when you're young kind of things. I listened, nodded, and when he finished, I chimed in with what I thought was a pretty innocuous, lighthearted comment. Something along the lines of, "Man, the police must have been having a really slow day if they put that much effort into catching that guy, huh?" You know, just a little jab, meant to get a chuckle out of the baristas. And it did, they grinned. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught it. A woman a few tables over who'd been quietly sipping her drink practically snapped to attention. Her face went rigid, eyes narrowed like she was personally offended by my very existence. Turns out she was a cop, and not just a cop but a very, very humorless one. She marched right over to my table, her posture screaming authority, and leaned in, practically spitting. "Excuse me, did you just mock law enforcement?" I blinked, genuinely surprised. No, not at all, ma'am," I said, trying to diffuse it with a smile. "It was just a joke, a light comment about a buddy's story, just goofing around." "There's nothing goofing around about disparaging the police," she retorted, her voice rising, drawing a few curious glances. "I'm an officer and I take serious offense to that. I could report you to my superiors for this." Honestly, my first thought was, oh great, an our entitled people encounter in the wild. I've seen enough of those to know arguing isn't the move. So I just shrugged, still trying to keep it light. Look, I really didn't mean anything by it. It was just a joke, not a personal attack. My apologies if you took it that way." She wasn't having it, not even a little. Her face flushed. She let out an indignant huff, shot me one last glare that could curdle milk, and then stomped out of the store, slamming the door behind her with a theatrical flourish that made a few patrons jump. "Wow." One of the baristas whispered, "She really didn't like that." I just shook my head, thinking that was the end of it. Just another run-in with someone who took themselves too seriously. Boy, was I wrong. About an hour later, I got a call from the store manager. He sounded a bit sheepish, explaining that an irate customer had called to report me. Apparently, she described me, my joke, and demanded some kind of disciplinary action. The manager, bless his heart, knew me pretty well and understood I was just being Cameron. He assured me he'd handle it, explaining that as a customer I hadn't violated any store policy and that the woman was clearly overreacting. I figured that would be the end of that. Then 2 days later, I walk into the Starbucks again, and the manager practically pulls me aside looking genuinely distressed. "Cameron," he said, "you won't believe this. The cop who called about you, she apparently got someone else in trouble." My jaw dropped. What? How? Turns out, in her fury, when she called back to complain about me, she didn't just mistakenly give the wrong description of me. She actually gave the name of one of the actual baristas who happened to be working that day, but wasn't even involved in our conversation. So this poor guy, a total stranger to the situation, ended up getting a formal write-up because this cop, blinded by her self-importance, couldn't even correctly identify the person she wanted to report. I was furious. Not for myself, but for this poor barista who was collateral damage in her petty power trip. I immediately told the manager I needed to clear this up. He'd already tried, but the district manager was involved now, and things were getting needlessly complicated for an innocent staff member. So, yeah, I ended up having a long, somewhat surreal conversation with the district manager. I explained the whole thing, how it was a harmless joke, how the cop totally overreacted, and crucially, how she was the one who screwed up and got an innocent employee in trouble. The DM, to their credit, seemed to grasp the absurdity of it all. They apologized profusely to the barista and rescinded the write-up. As for me, the district manager, trying to lighten the mood after this ridiculous saga, looked at me with a wry smile and said, "Well, Cameron, given all this, I guess we're going to have to jokingly fire you from Starbucks." I laughed. What else could I do? It was the perfect, ridiculous cap to an even more ridiculous story. I mean, I wasn't fired, obviously, and they were cool about the whole thing. But for a minute there, a cop's overinflated ego nearly got a random barista fired, and me, a simple customer, effectively exiled, all because she thought she could pull rank on a coffee shop patron. So, yeah, that's my story. It's a frustrating one, but honestly, the sheer idiocy of it still makes me chuckle. Just goes to show you really never know who's listening or how badly they'll screw things up in their righteous indignation. And sometimes the "I don't work here" situation isn't about being mistaken for an employee, but about some entitled jerk thinking they have authority over you, even when you don't work there.
My weekly grocery run usually ends with a full cart and a lighter wallet. This particular Tuesday, it ended with shredded paper, a screaming woman, and me trying to decide if I'd just committed a minor act of rebellion right there in aisle 7. Seriously, sometimes you just hit your limit? And mine came wrapped in a tightly wound package of entitlement. I was just admiring the perfect avocado, minding my own damn business, humming a little tune when this woman barrels into my periphery. She was a lot. Think perfectly coiffed blonde hair, too much makeup, and a scowl that could curdle milk. She didn't approach so much as descend upon me. Her "excuse me" wasn't a question. It was a command, clipped and sharp, like she expected me to snap to attention. Before I could even fully turn, she was practically in my face, thrusting a crumpled piece of paper at me. I stared at the list, then at her, genuinely confused. What's this?" I asked, because, well, what was this? "My grocery list, obviously," she huffed, rolling her eyes like I was the idiot for not instantly understanding her royal decree. "Now get to it. I don't have all day." It clicked then? "Oh, hell no! Look, I don't work here," I told her, trying to hand the list back. My tone was calm, but inside, the first flicker of irritation sparked. She snatched it, but not to take it. Instead, with a move so fast and aggressive it took me aback, she shoved it into the front pocket of my hoodie. My jaw literally dropped. "Excuse me," I sputtered, utterly flabbergasted. "Did you just—" "Don't play coy," she snapped, her voice dripping with impatience. "Just get me my organic kale and that artisanal sourdough. Now!" I pulled the crumpled paper out, my face probably a mixture of disbelief and annoyance. "Lady, I'm a customer just like you." I tried again, extending the list back to her, trying to be reasonable. And she did it again. Shoved it right back into my pocket, this time with an infuriating smirk that made my blood boil. "Your break is over, employee," she hissed, practically nose to nose with me. "Unless you want to explain to your manager why you're loafing around on the clock?" That was it. The second shove, the smirk, the employee, something just snapped. My blood was boiling. I slowly, deliberately pulled that damn list out of my pocket one last time. She was already turning away, clearly thinking she'd won, strutting off towards the exotic produce aisle. "You know what?" I said, my voice dangerously calm, drawing her back. "Maybe you don't have all day, but I don't work here." And with a satisfying thwip, I tore the stupid thing right down the middle. Then, for good measure, I tore each half again, letting the snowy confetti of her demands flutter down around her expensive-looking shoes. "Take that artisanal sourdough?" Her jaw went slack for a split second before her face contorted into pure, unadulterated rage. You animal! How dare you! I want to speak to your manager now!" Her shriek echoed down the aisle, turning heads. And like a beacon, David, the store manager, a calm older gentleman who knew me from my weekly visits, appeared from around a display of fresh berries. He took one look at me, then the flailing Karen, then the scattered paper. A knowing sigh escaped him. "Is there a problem here, ma'am?" he asked, his voice even already bracing himself. "A problem?" she screeched, pointing a trembling finger at me. This delinquent just destroyed my property. He works here, and he needs to be fired, immediately." David raised an eyebrow, a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. "Ma'am, with all due respect, Cameron here doesn't work for us. He's a regular customer." Karen's eyes bugged out. "Don't lie to me. He's wearing a hoodie. He was stocking shelves. He must work here." "He's just doing his shopping," David replied, picking up a few stray pieces of paper, "and he tends to wear hoodies. It's not a uniform, ma'am." He held out the torn scraps to her. "Here are the remnants of your list. You can find tape in aisle 5 near the stationery." She just stared at the pathetic little pile of paper in David's hand, then at him, then at me. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. The sheer audacity of being told where to find tape for her self-inflicted problem seemed to short-circuit her brain. David gave me a small, apologetic smile and a shrug. "Ready to check out, Cameron?" "More than ready, David," I replied, trying to suppress a triumphant grin. As I paid for my carefully selected avocados and other actual groceries, I could still hear Karen sputtering vaguely in the distance, a deflated, frustrated mess. I don't know what she did after that. Probably tried to assemble her list like a jigsaw puzzle in aisle 5, or maybe just gave up and went home to yell at her butler. All I know is, as I loaded my groceries into my car, the ridiculousness of it all hit me and a genuine cathartic laugh bubbled up. What a Tuesday! And yeah, David, I was more than ready. Ready to tell Reddit all about it, at least?
If you liked this video, you'll want to check this one out next.